Namo Phat, good morning. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fifth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I vow to cultivate good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society, by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will ingest only items that preserve peace, well-being, and joy in my body, in my consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family and society. I am determined not to use alcohol or any other items that contain toxins, such as certain TV programs, magazines, books, films, and conversations. I am aware that to damage my body or my consciousness with these poisons is to betray my ancestors, my parents, my society, and future generations. I will work to transform violence, fear, anger, and confusion in myself and in society by practicing a diet for myself and for society. I understand that a proper diet is crucial for self-transformation and the transformation of society. For our Dharma reading today, we're finishing the second part of Following Rules, What's the Point? By Ajahn Yatiko. At the same time, it's important to remember that we're here to be free from suffering. Although these guidelines help us, we're not here to live by a bunch of rules that are going to force us into conforming, keeping us nice and safe, or making us so bland that we don't have any problems. That's not the Buddhist path to freedom. The Buddhist path is to find contentment within limitations. We have limitations, forms, and practices that serve as containers, the rules and standards of the Vinaya. These aren't conventions that we have to feel limited or constrained by. We can learn to relax around them, finding a sense of inner contentment as we follow them and keep them in mind. We can start by approaching the present moment with a mindset of self-acceptance, freedom, and contentment, a paradigm with which we don't have to be defined by rules or anything else. From that mindset, we can see that all these rules we're living by are simply conventions. They don't have any ultimate reality that has to define us. If we can see that, contemplate that, and have a sense of expansiveness and openness around these conventions, then perhaps we can experience contentment within limitation. We can be free of the sense of constraint while living within constraint. We don't have to be held down by these rules and structures because a feeling of real freedom is present within us. And that freedom, quite spontaneously, we might think, it's not a problem to keep these rules. This is quite all right. I'm very happy eating one meal a day. I don't mind wearing these robes like everyone else here. Being celibate is beneficial for my practice and my mind. This mindset is quite different from feeling that we need to tightly control our behavior and constantly look around to see if anyone has spotted us making a mistake. When we have that sort of attitude, it can feel like there's no room to breathe. We might be able to live like this for a while, but I'm not convinced it's sustainable. It's a balancing act, and it can be quite tricky. We need to learn how to reflect on all this in a skillful way, recognizing the capacity for self-deception in the area of non-attachment to rules. Then again, we need to recognize that we haven't taken up the monastic life merely to perfect a litany of codes and standards. It's not about standards. That's not the point. It's about learning to find contentment within the context of conventions. There may be a danger that what I've said this morning will be misunderstood. Do not think I'm suggesting that the rules should be tossed out or not respected. I'm simply offering these reflections for contemplation. How can we loosen our tight grip on the rules while at the same time continuing to follow them, understanding that they are an essential part of the monastic path? Contemplating in this way takes intelligence and ingenuity, plus circumspection, to ensure that our reflections bring positive results that enrich and enliven our practice. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.